So Darren, we are doing something new here. This is the pilot, I guess you'd call it, of our new 2025 summer movie preview series. Super cool. This is going to be so much fun to kind of tackle 30 movies, 30 of the many. There's a lot more than 30, but 30 of the most popular, I guess you can call, movies that are coming out this summer. So the date of this recording is Monday, May 12th. So this movie that we're going to talk about today, Final Destination Bloodlines, comes out this Friday, May 16th, and we'll get into all that good stuff. But before I do, and I know we're not live right now or anything like that, but just two brothers talking to each other, we got to celebrate victories. So we are, at the date of this recording, we are up 121 subscribers than we were 3 weeks ago. So we're up to 2,183. That is a good number. So
listen, that's a lot of hard work, mostly by you. And we have a wonderful following, and they're telling their friends and associates, and we could not be doing this without them. It's all them. We just show up and we are goofy selves.
Yep. And, they don't have a voice in this because it's a recording. But they do have a voice by continuing to hit that like button, comment, show up to the lives, and we appreciate that so much. And I can't wait to see the comments that people will put in after these recordings from existing subscribers and new people as well. Looking forward to dive into this. And so before we talk about this movie, Darren, and before we have some thoughts and stuff, we have to, of course, give a shout out to our proud sponsors over at Nashville Tax Solutions. I know the tax deadline is passed, but this is a full year operation. They don't shut the doors until so there's so much more going on. So Darren, if you wouldn't mind sharing a little word.
Tax troubles? Behind on filings? Hit with a lien? Nashville Tax Solutions helps Palm Bay and Fort Pierce get back on track fast. Chris Bennett and his team can save you from a financial nightmare. They are legit. Expert help, real results, zero judgment. So call today, 855-627-4829. Visit NashvilleTaxSolutions.com or email info@NashvilleTaxSolutions.com, because Nashville Tax Solutions don't stress the IRS. Let them take care of it. Let them handle it.
I like it. Yep. Thank you. And so everything that they do, they did a big event with Jelly Roll in Nashville and helping out cause there. And they're just always looking out for the community and for you, the taxpayer. So we highly recommend when you're not watching the show to please check them out on their website. Give them a call and just touch base with them, because you'll be glad you did. It's one of the best decisions you can make. So absolutely, as we preview this summer movie season, we know there was a big blockbuster that came out, Marvel Universe here recently, of course, and there's some movies this past weekend as well. I never know when the official kickoff is. Usually it is early May, kind of depending on, but I know down here in Florida, we seem to be the first people to be done with school somewhere around May, and that's usually the end of May. So on your end, is there like an official kickoff, or is it just kind of like when the first school looking?
It's usually the big blockbusters start Memorial Day weekend, but they start leaking out earlier and earlier. And to your point, right now, is Thunderbolts a summer movie? Sure it is. Think it's MCU. So there's just so many of those kind of things. We're into it already. It's May. Come on, let's go.
Yep, let's go. And so we're going to talk about this first movie. This movie, again, this comes out this coming Friday. They always say the day that it starts comes on Friday, but 99% of the theaters will show it on Thursday evening. It used to be a midnight showing, and now it's like 6 p.m. and onward. And I think some places actually did an early screening. And what?
We're getting older. Midnight's way too late.
Yeah, that's the way. Yes, for sure.
We made some calls.
Yeah, so this is the shot there. Final Destination Bloodlines, only in theaters May 16th and the 15th. It should say that. And then
right.
But filmed for IMAX. So I've only it's been a while. We do have a theater near us that does the IMAX thing. But one shout out to Cinema World, which is one of our big theaters here in Central Florida. They decided that unlike everybody else in the world, they're going to go down in their prices. One of the better theaters around here. They're not like a little podunk little thing. And so they've made it. So shout out to them, $7 all week long, except for Tuesday.
Wow.
Go down to $4, but all showings. IMAX, of course, is it's like a $3 upcharge, which is nothing, and a $1 upcharge for Dolby something. So they make it affordable to be able to see a movie on a Friday night for $7.
I love that.
So, that's shout out to Cinema World. They're probably not watching this, but I just think that's really, really cool. Of course, I'm sure they'll make up their money by charging. I always laugh when I see those deals. For popcorn and slushies, it's like the combo ticket, $21.95. It's just okay. So we know you gotta. And I love that, and the candy. Like I love when you go to Walgreens or other places, Dollar Trees or Dollar Generals. They just call it movie theater candy. Like they don't even hide it anymore.
They don't hide it anymore. No, because yes.
Yes. So I'm going to read just a small snippet. This is a very short synopsis of the movie, and then Darren, I'd like maybe you can kickstart our conversation here. But so again, the movie that we're talking about, Final Destination Bloodlines. Plagued by a violent and recurring nightmare, a college student heads home to track down the one person who might be able to break the cycle of death and save her family from the grisly demise that inevitably awaits them all. So, Darren, if you want to kind of play off of that and kind of let those watching know what installment of the franchise is this movie? Do you know the number in terms of totality?
5? 5, 6. 5, excuse me, 6.
I think it is 6. Yeah.
Yes, it went to 5, and then that kids who are playing at home. That's what happens when you only hear half the question. So there were five original, and then the 6th. So that actually kind of answers another part of the question. I think this is a wonderful time to spring into summer, if I may use that term. Because in the summer movie season, because this is a franchise, a very successful franchise. So that in itself has people a buzz about this. And basically, can you cheat death? If death has your name on a list and you're supposed to die, death is not happy if you beat death. So that's really what this is all about.
Yeah, that's exactly. And I believe the first movie, they came out, was it around like 2005, I'm assuming, right? Was that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember seeing, that was one of the few that I remember seeing in theaters, and I have not seen them all. Let me ask you this question. Have you seen all of them? And then if
yes,
so.
I have. Yes, I have. Okay. Yes, I have. And we've talked about this offline. I'm a movie nut. I love movies. I love talking about movies. I think they're a nice little glimpse into culture. And they're good fantasy. Jeffrey Riddick, who created the franchise, I've had him on our podcast. Actually, he did a cameo for my daughter as a gift one year. So you can do that. The famous log scene, and again, don't drive behind trucks. Just get away.
Yes. Exactly.
So,
I think
he's just he gets it. He's from Middle America. You have to have a little bit of humor in there. You have to have a few jump scares, but not too many. I'm not a big fan of the jump scare. And you have to have a enemy that you can all rally around, right? And everybody rallies around death, right? We all don't, boo death. Nobody wants a part of that.
And it's got to be difficult. You mentioned the jump scares and stuff, but he's got a good grasp on things, because it's so hard in 2025 to mix everything, right? Like you don't want to be cheesy, but you got to be cheesy, and you don't want like when you're casting people, you can't see. A lot of times these movies get a bad rap because if you cast someone, it's like, okay, like could they have gotten a more ditzy girl to be playing this part or a more bonehead guy to be playing this part. But like, if we're casting people that are like super serious, like they're not going to have the same, facial reactions and different things like that. So you gotta still cast people a certain way. So that's where they got to rely on the action and the story and to tie things in, make it make sense. And Eileen, one of the things that we're going to share here at the end, we have a panel of 5 of us, including the 2 of us, that are going to rate our early rating. Of course, we haven't seen the movie, so this is just going off of our best guess on what we have heard. But Eileen mentioned that she loves that it stayed true to the storyline from the original. And so that's to be appreciated for sure.
And it's an interesting thing to any genre of filmmaking, but especially with horror, there is different subsets. So it's like saying I like Italian food, right, or I like Cuban food. Well, what do you like specifically? Because, like, for example, there are people who really like jump scares. There's some people that like slasher films. There's people like a little bit of slasher, a little bit of jump scare. There's people like more suspense. I personally, I'm not a big jump scare person, but I like in-depth stories. I don't like when they take advantage of the viewer and make it too simplistic, but sometimes that's fun. So it's not easy to scare people. You know that because you and your wonderful wife really know about the Halloween amusements with the scares and everything else. That's not an easy thing to pull off.
Yeah, no, it's really not, because you're trying to make everybody happy. But it's almost impossible. There's one theme park here that came up with something called the Nobu necklace, where it's like, if you wear this, they're not allowed to scare you. And it's like, okay, then why are we going to the park at this point? But they still want to be around the environment. They don't want that interaction. So one thing with this movie as well, Darren kind of touched on a little earlier, but those that may not be familiar, they're trying to decide, okay, I haven't seen the other ones. Do I see this one? How can I see this one without seeing the other one? So let me just give you a quick kind of tagging on what Darren said. The backstory centers on the idea, like you said, death and its ability to get things right after a premonition saves people. It was a disaster. And so death continues to target them, elaborate, bizarre accidents, restore balance. The series explores themes of fate, free will, and the consequences of interfering with the natural course of events. So, of course, people trying to continuously stop things from happening. And there's no escaping death, and that's basically the premise there. But Darren, I wanted to ask your thoughts. So, talking about the casting just for a moment, and that all begins, of course, with the late Tony Todd. So, if you wouldn't mind just sharing a little bit about the great Tony Todd, William Bloodworth, and then beyond that, anyone on the cast in particular that stands out to you or that you're excited about?
So let me unpack that a little bit. Tony Todd, the Candyman, this was his last role, and he doesn't play the Candyman in this. He plays something else, and we can get into that. And he has that wonderful deep baritone voice that we all grown to know and love. From what I was reading, he knew he was going to pass. And he just did this for Jeffrey, and he just did this because the content was good. And he knew that sort of an homage to his fans, because these are horror fans. It's a franchise. He changed things. He really did, because he broke stereotypes and grounds about who the killer is, and a wonderful, wonderful actor. And in terms of any other actor, that's the wonderful thing about the Final Destination series. They're all good, and so you have this one person coming back without giving too much away, but it could be any of you. It could be any of us. So it's kind of nebulous in a good way. They're nice actors, wonderful. But again, you can just kind of fit in the mold, because death doesn't care. If death has you on the list, death is going to go and get you.
It's going to find you. We'll find you. Yep, exactly. And so as we kind of come to a close for this, this is what this is a teaser for the movie. Like that. We want to go ahead and share this here. So I'm going to let this run here at the bottom in just a moment. So we have a team of 5 individuals. So we've got myself. So I've given this movie a 7 out of 10. Darren an 8.5 out of 10. Dakota a 4 out of 10. Aiden 6.5, and Eileen an 8 out of 10. So we'll break that down in future videos a little bit, but just for the sake, my son Aiden is just turned 18 years old. And then we have Dakota, who is in his early 30s, and we got myself and Eileen, who are in the lower 40s. And Darren celebrated his 21st birthday last Wednesday, so yes. He is very excited.
Plus a lot more. But really, if you surmise, and again, like, let's be honest, right? I mean, Eileen and Darren are right. But let's move on. No, I'm kidding. It's comedy, folks. But listen, let me ask you this question. Give me your Mount Rushmore of horror films.
Mount Rushmore of horror films. I like it. Okay. But and folks, this is not asked ahead of time, so I am.
No, it was. This is extemporaneous.
So, okay, I have to take a quick. I don't want to just think of a movie that pops in here, but of course, the number one, so this Mount Rushmore for me would be one of them up here, and the other 3 heads would be lower, because I'm a Halloween fan through and through. 100%. That's the all-time for me. A lot of factors, the budget. Just what they were able to accomplish. Just in the very first one was just I would like to see more of that, and if they redo it again and again and again, I like the old school vibe with that. But so Halloween for sure. I would put Paranormal Activity on the list, which I know is awkward, but what that movie was able to do, I think the first movie had a $30,000 budget, and the first movie, I believe, made $700 and something million. Can you imagine the profit? It's insane.
Right.
But and so people are like, we've seen it. Why would you make another one? Well, those numbers, why wouldn't you? But Paranormal Activity 2, and I'll just put Paranormal on there. But Paranormal Activity 2 was able to do a scene. I don't know if you remember, but in the middle of the daylight, and they did this scene where all the cabinets and the doors and everything flew open. And it was just because you're programmed in horror movies when it's daytime to kind of let your heart rest a little bit. And then when it's nighttime, you're like, okay, something's going to happen. So when that scene happened, I remember literally jumping off my seat. And when I go through horror houses, I don't budge. I'm like, someone can get in my face and do the craziest, creepiest thing. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. But that scene just completely threw me. And I ruined it for others, because I was that guy that was like, you got to watch this part. So I ruined the part because I'm pointing at the giant screen that they're not watching. But so those 2 would be on there for sure for me. One movie that's outside the box that probably no one's ever heard of, it's called Funny Games. I thought it was awesome in terms of what they were able to accomplish. Basically like the movie The Strangers, but before The Strangers came out, it was 2 guys that came in and kind of just took a hold of the place, and terrifying to think about, but outside the box, just unique before its time. Wasn't overacting or anything like that. It was just legit for what it was. And there's so many places I can go for the 4th one. I mean, there's so much out there.
It's hard to pick
for me, The Exorcist would have to be on there, just based on everything. It's kind of goes without saying. Can't really have a list without
that changed everything.
Yes, it did.
So that is on my list. Here's one that's really out of the box, and people might tell me it's not a horror film, and it might not be. It might be a thriller. But the original Planet of the Apes, that ending is incredible. And I'm not giving it away, folks. It came out in '68. Okay, if you didn't watch it now, too bad. I'm going to ruin it for you. When they see that it's the Statue of Liberty, that it's Earth, and that we became the monkeys took over the Earth, and this and that, scared the bejesus out of me.
Yeah, I would put that in there. Yeah, I mean, in terms of the genre. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's tough. But I tell you, when Jason, who was not the killer in the original Friday the 13th, jumps out of the lake at the very end of that movie, come on, that was so scary. Yeah. You chop off his mother's head and you think everything's okay now, and she's and he just jumps out. I almost want to do 5, but if I have to do 4, I would probably say a movie you never heard of called Candyland, which came out a couple years ago, and my daughter and I was able to go to the premiere, and this movie is about truck stops and what happens at truck stops, and a killer and things like this, and who's the good person, who's the bad person. It was an amazing movie, not for kids. That's all I'll say.
That's all I say. Yeah. No, I always love that outside the boxes. That's the one I'll have to go check out because I haven't seen, and probably yourself for funny games. Same thing. So to sum up, guys, and I know we didn't put Final Destination on the list, but that's okay.
They didn't make them Mount Rushmore, but it's still one of my favorites.
Yeah, they're still in the same city.
100%.
So wrapping things up, this is definitely a must-see for sure. It's not the kickoff because, like you said, Thunderbolts already came out. But as a horror movie fan, this is a must. Don't want to miss this one. You want to see this in theaters. It's intended to be in theaters, and it's the finale. And it's going to tie everything together. So super excited, looking forward to that. Darren, any final comments before we shut this down?
I love this. I love the fact that we are going to be talking about movies and creative art and just the ability to make people scream and jump, laugh, feel good about themselves, positivity. I love this. I love this. And by the way, as a tie-in, if you're going to a Met game, you're going to a Marlins game, you're going to a Rays game, you're talking about movies on the way in around the ballpark.
Exactly. Yes. We're definitely talking about movies, especially this time of year. So thanks, guys, for catching this first premiere episode. And there'll be 29 more to come. We like that number 30 teams, 30 parks, 30 movies. And so we will see you next time around the ballpark.